Rachel Zegler was once considered Hollywood's golden girl, the breakout star of Spielberg's West Side Story, a Golden Globe winner, and the new face of Disney's Snow White. But fast forward just a couple years later, and her name is now attached to one of the biggest PR nightmares Disney has ever faced. From press blunders and political outbursts to viral memes and empty theaters, Zegler's rapid rise has turned into a front-row crash course in how to burn out faster than you blew up. And the saddest part? Her latest show was so unpopular that ticket prices literally dropped to zero. Not discounted, not half off, zero. Pay what you want. That's how desperate things got. And now she's reportedly in tears, as fans, critics, and even Disney itself begin to distance themselves from what was once a carefully sculpted star. So what happened? How did one of Hollywood's brightest new faces become one of its most divisive? This is the rise and unraveling of Rachel Zegler and why it's more than just another flop. Real quick, if you're into raw, unfiltered breakdowns of celebrity controversies and career crashes like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. No fluff, no PR spin, just the drama, the downfall, and the truth behind the headlines. Let's rewind to the beginning. Rachel Zegler wasn't born into fame. She was handpicked. Steven Spielberg chose her out of thousands of audition tapes to lead his 2021 adaptation of West Side Story, and the critics raved. She had the voice, the charm, and the poise of an old-school starlet. And she wasn't even 20 yet. Though the film didn't rake in box office gold, Zegler's performance stood out. She bagged a Golden Globe. She was on every casting director's radar, and Disney quickly scooped her up to play Snow White in a live-action remake. Everything was going according to the fairy tale until it wasn't. The trouble began during the press run for Snow White. Instead of embracing the legacy of the 1937 classic and winning over die-hard Disney fans, Zegler took a hard turn. She began openly criticizing the original film, calling the prince a stalker and saying the story was outdated, old-fashioned, even dumb. According to her, this Snow White wasn't going to wait around for true love or be rescued by a man. She was going to be a strong, fearless leader. Sure, the message could have been empowering if handled gracefully, but Zegler's delivery came across as smug, even condescending. It felt like she was mocking the very fans she needed on her side. That's when the internet erupted. Fans flooded social media, accusing Zegler of being ungrateful, of trashing a beloved childhood classic. Reddit threads spiraled, YouTube commentary videos multiplied, Twitter timelines melted down. The general sentiment was simple. If you hate the original that much, why even sign up for the remake? And worse, why insult fans who loved it? It was the perfect storm of woke rebranding clashing with nostalgia, and Rachel became the face of everything audiences thought was wrong with modern Hollywood. This wasn't just a matter of bad PR, it felt personal to a lot of fans who grew up with the original story and didn't appreciate it being dismissed as dumb or irrelevant. But that wasn't even the peak of the controversy. During the 2024 US election cycle, Zegler made things even messier. In a now infamous Instagram post, she wrote, "May Trump, his voters and supporters, never know peace." And that wasn't a private rant. That was a public post from the face of a billion-dollar Disney franchise. Immediately, people called her out not just for the aggressive tone, but for the political recklessness. Disney has always tried to stay apolitical, and now their Snow White was out here hexing half the country? To make it worse, when backlash came, Zegler didn't back down, she doubled down. And Disney? They said nothing, but the silence spoke volumes. That's when executives realized they weren't just dealing with bad press, they were facing a branding crisis. Suddenly, Snow White the movie Disney expected to print money was radioactive. Rumors began swirling that Disney had canceled other upcoming live-action remakes. Merchandise quietly disappeared from shelves. Posters vanished from stores. Toy lines stalled. And then the big blow came. Disney delayed the release of Snow White by over a year. Some insiders say they're trying to edit around Zegler. Others say the project might be shelved altogether. Either way, the buzz went from blockbuster anticipation to full-blown damage control. So Rachel tried to pivot. She turned to Broadway, or more accurately, the London stage. She took on the iconic role of Eva Peron in a bold new production of Evita at the London Palladium. It was a smart move to build credibility through raw talent, The role had been played by legends like Patti LuPone and Madonna. It was a chance to remind the world she could really sing, really act, and wasn't just a headline machine. But then came the balcony moment. During one of the most important scenes singing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," Zegler shocked everyone by leaving the stage and performing the number from a balcony above the street, singing to fans outside the theater. Inside, the paying audience, some of whom spent up to $500, was left watching the scene on a television screen. Memes exploded. "Woke Broadway," some joked. "Experimental theater fail," said others. Reddit had a field day. Critics were confused. And once again, Zegler became the punchline of her own show. Even theater professionals began questioning the artistic choices behind the performance. Was this bold innovation or tone-deaf disrespect to ticket holders? But that was just the beginning. Reviews began trickling in, and they weren't all bad. In fact, most agreed her voice was excellent. Her stage presence? Commanding? But here's the thing, it didn't matter. The drama offstage had already overshadowed her performance. Her name was tainted, and audiences just weren't showing up. Ticket sales plummeted. Attendance dropped. Some shows were half empty. And eventually, the theater slashed prices to pay what you want. That's right, Broadway-level seats for whatever change you had in your pocket. A quiet humiliation dressed up as accessibility. For Rachel, it was a crushing reality check. Then, behind the scenes, whispers started leaking out. People close to the Evita production began talking. Zegler, they claimed, was hard to work with. Not explosive, not cruel, just difficult. She reportedly acted like she was a seasoned legend instead of someone with one major hit. She allegedly tried rewriting lines on Snow White, debated directors on tone and message, and came across like someone who believed she was smarter than the script. One anonymous crew member said she talks like she's better than the material. And when word of that kind of attitude spreads in an industry built on teamwork and image, it sticks. This wasn't just a reputation problem, it was a trust issue. Disney, an empire built on control, safety, and family friendliness, now had an unpredictable lead who'd become more known for stirring drama than selling tickets. Studios started second-guessing whether casting her again would be worth the headlines. The press stopped calling. Collaborators stopped talking. And just like that, the calls slowed, the offers dried up, and the industry turned its head. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because Rachel's controversy has started affecting people beyond just her own career. Some actors who publicly supported her or worked closely with her are reportedly being advised to lay low until the Snow White dust settles. Talent agents are privately warning new clients to be careful about aligning with high-risk names, with Zegler now near the top of that list. A former Disney insider even told a podcast that the studio will survive this, but they're treating this entire saga as a major case study in how not to handle talent. Some say Rachel is unfairly shouldering the blame for broader failures, but in an image-obsessed town like Hollywood, perception is everything. If you become the headline for the wrong reasons, even your friends stop picking up the phone. Meanwhile, fans who once championed Zegler are now openly debating if she ever deserved the spotlight in the first place. Was she overhyped? Was she just too young and too unfiltered for the roles she was given? Was Disney's gamble based more on potential than actual star power? These are questions that producers are now asking behind closed doors. Because in Hollywood, it's not just about how talented you are, it's about how much baggage you bring. And right now, Zegler's baggage is starting to outweigh her box office pull. Now, Hollywood seems to be quietly ghosting her. Press outlets have stopped calling. Disney has gone radio silent. No toys, no promotional appearances, no rollout. And the public? They're not exactly rallying to her defense. Because Zegler isn't hated enough to be truly canceled. But she's not beloved enough to be forgiven either. She's trapped in a dangerous space, Hollywood limbo. Not in, not out. Just fading. Let's be real, Rachel Zegler is still talented. She's got a strong voice, she's capable of captivating performances, and her early career showed massive potential. But talent alone isn't enough in an industry that relies on perception, relatability, and timing. She mistook early applause for immunity, and now she's learning, the hard way, that the spotlight is cold once it turns away. So here we are, a former prodigy caught between stardom and scandal. One day you're Disney's next princess, the next you're trending because people are clowning your balcony performance. It's not just a fall from grace, it's a lesson in modern fame. Because in this era, if you disrespect nostalgia, alienate your audience, and refuse to read the room, no amount of talent will save you. Now, the big question remains, is Rachel Zegler the villain in her own story, or is she just another rising star who got caught in the perfect storm of bad press, missteps, and impossible expectations? Did she ruin her own career? Was she set up to fail by a system eager to find its next scapegoat? Maybe she was too bold for Disney. Maybe she didn't play the game right. Or maybe, just maybe, she thought the story was about her when it was really about something much bigger. Whatever the case, this version of Snow White didn't just bite the apple, Shay, burned the whole forest down, climbed a balcony to sing about it, and then wondered why no one stayed to clap. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was Rachel Zegler doomed from the start, or did she sabotage her own fairy tale? And if you want to see what Jake Black had to say when he reality checked her recent meltdown, go click on that next video. Trust me, it's just as messy.